Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Sharon Let's Live with Marlene Dillon, Empowerment Specialist. So today I did a post on my Facebook page where I basically just said, I'm laughing because it's weird to say, but I think the post said I was having a conversation with a dear friend and I realized that I'm the shit. And it's such a weird thing because I was raised in a system of belief that confidence is conceit. So I never really allowed myself to see myself in a light of, that I'm doing okay, that I'm doing well. So I was used to being around haters and people who said things like, if somebody showed up looking good or doing their thing or trying to, advance or whatever, it was just like, don't nobody care. Look at her. Who does she think she is? And it's horrible. But that was the kind of system that I grew up in. So the laughter is more of an uncomfortable laugh, not like I agree with that behavior now. So in that system of believing that advancing, doing more than what other people are doing is going to garner hate and criticism and people thinking that you think you're all that when you are not supposed to think you're all that. You're supposed to be humble and all that kind of bull. I really internalized those beliefs because that was during my 0 to 7 that I was, receiving a lot of those messages, and they continued after that point. So I've been doing all this inner work over the last week or so. And I mentioned it in probably the last 2 days of podcasts. And the really cool thing that came out of doing that work is that I was having a conversation with a dear friend via Messenger, like we were chatting back and forth. She lives in New Zealand. And I was telling her about a situation that I'm currently dealing with. And how I recognized, like, I couldn't figure out why this person chose me, as like a target for it. Like, I could see how they benefited from other people in their life, but I couldn't see what they were getting from me. And then it clicked, and I was just like, and I was just talking to her, and I was just like, I guess, this person attached themselves to me because of this. And because of this, and because of this, and because of this, and because of this, and because of that. And I was basically like listing all of these positive things that I've done that I never acknowledge. And I was just like, after I made the list, I was like, because I have, maybe it's because I have a master's in counseling. Maybe it's because I have because I've spoken I have run programs in the Chicago public schools. Like, maybe it's because I was a speaker, like, for the Chicago public libraries, or that I have my children's book in the public libraries. Maybe it's because I have a children's book. Actually, I have several. And I was like, well, maybe it's because I have a publishing company. And then I've published a few books for myself and for my dad, and I published his album songwriting, and maybe it's because, and it was just as I was going through his list, and I'm actually adding to the list right now, shit. Maybe it's because I've designed a logo for one of the Chicago public schools, which is the logo that they'll probably use forever, because they don't change those logos often. Maybe, unless the name changes. Maybe it's, and just going through, and I was just like, I've done a lot of shit. And what I realized is, and what I want to talk to you today about is our inner conversations, because I have spent most of my adult life, and it probably started at least from high school on, feeling like shit because I didn't have a certain amount of money, because I didn't have a job that paid me well, or because at the time I didn't have a job, or whatever. I have placed my entire sense of value on how much I have, how much I can buy, how much I can do, if I can go here when someone says, let's go to the show, I can be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. Or if I can go travel with my friends, like, oh, we going to such and such, we go, like, come through. Like, my ability to say, like, oh, yeah, I'm on my way, rather than like, I don't know if I have enough gas, and I definitely can't do the cover charge. Like, I have placed my entire sense of value on how much money I have. And there's reason for that, because I was raised in a system where you are praised by what you do, how much you have, what you can buy, what you just bought, what you can buy for your parents. And because that's what I witnessed, I was constantly feeling like I wasn't shit, because I couldn't do all these things that people around me could do. The people who got the accolades and the look at how amazing they are and all of that stuff, I felt like I wasn't shit because I couldn't do all of those things. So I ignored the fact that I went from being homeless, basically, and not even basically, like, I had to move back in with my parents after my quote unquote, we'll say relationship, because it just gets too complicated. So after my relationship ended, I had to move back in with my parents because I had nowhere to go and I had no money of my own. And during that time, created my own publishing company. Like, it's registered at, like, if you look up M. Dillon Designs and Publishing, it is a registered publishing company. I got my, I'm a registered songwriter with BMI, and also a recognized publisher with BMI. That I figured out how to register my business with the state. I do my own taxes. I figured out, how to self-publish when I had nobody to teach me that. Had no idea how to do it. Figured that out. So all of my books, I do everything myself. I do the illustrations. I do the layout. I write them myself. Like, I do all that. And I did all of that because I didn't have the finances to reach out and pay someone to do it. So I had to figure out how to do all of that stuff on my own. So, like figuring out how to get, like, I have my, like, purchased ISBNs for all my books and barcodes and all of that stuff. Like, all of the different things, like, how do I get a program into schools? How do I do all that kind of stuff? How do I get to be a speaker in the libraries? Like, all of these things that I, like, investigated and figured out and had nobody to teach me. I never even paid any attention to all of that stuff. All of the 700 products that I've designed to celebrate and embrace natural hair and natural beauty. Never thought anything about all of that work that I've put in. All of that stuff that I did while living in my parents' basement. While raising a child. While, encouraging her. While teaching her about life. While doing all the things that parents naturally do, not having a partner, just doing all of this stuff solo, while dealing with all kinds of stuff that I can't even name, or I could, but I won't. And it never clicked to me until I was having this conversation with my friend that I was rattling off this list of reasons why this person attached themselves to me, what they had to gain, that I realized, oh my God, I'm the shit. And the reason that I was able to get there is because I have been changing my inner conversations by changing the beliefs that I held about what causes someone to be valuable, what makes a person of value. The work that I did, the inner work that I did days ago or days prior came back to serve me because I realized that the way that I was taught to value people does not align with my beliefs about a person's value. And by making that shift, I was able to see my own value for the first time. People tell me positive things all the time. They're like, you're so inspiring. And I think it is the sweetest thing. And I get so excited. And I'm always like, oh, thank you so much. And I hadn't internalized it because I would always say, like, I wish I could see myself the way you see me. And for the first time, I am beginning to see, like, wait a minute, I'm doing all right. Because it's not just about how much money do I have, And that was like a really huge thing. So today is day 1 of my new podcast series that I'm calling Let's Try July. I like things that rhyme. It's just my thing. So I'm calling it Let's Try July. So what my intention with this series for the month of July, doing a daily podcast, is to talk about communication. And for this one, it's about the communication that we have with ourselves. Looking at the conversations that we're having in our minds, the thoughts that we're having about who we are and about our value, about what we're offering, about what we do. So what I'm going to ask you to try today is to try to find some things about yourself that are positive that you don't normally acknowledge. Reasons why someone would want to be your friend. Reasons why someone would want to work with you. Reasons why someone would want to date you. Reasons why someone would want to treat you with respect. Thinking outside of yourself. Pretend you are not you because you might be a bit biased against you. Pretend you're not your worst critic today. Pretend you are your best friend. Like you are the version of a best friend that you would love to have. And if you have it, that's even better. That's awesome for you. Become that person and look at yourself and make a list like you're trying to sell yourself. Try finding your positive qualities. If I ask you what's wrong with you, you could probably figure out a million things to say. Try to find the positive qualities. So today is the first day of Let's Try July. That's what I want you to try. And this is Marlene Dillon, Empowerment Specialist. I hope you join me all month for my daily podcast series, Let's Try July. Have an amazing whatever time of day it is for you. Blessings. To learn more about me, Marlene Dillon, Empowerment Specialist, please visit mdillondesigns.com. There you can find more podcast episodes. You can read my inspirational blog. You can check out my online store of personalized gifts featuring the characters from my empowering children's book, I'm Proud to Be Natural Me. You can find parenting resources, including my online communication course, Healing Our Families, Healing the Parent-Child Relationship. Please follow and share if you found this podcast inspiring. Thank you and have an amazing day.